Hi guys, I hope you're well and happy new year. So today's video is something a little bit different, something really exciting. But a few months back I had the pleasure of interviewing the one and only Gloria Hunniford. I was working with Gloria on a job and I was telling her about my aspirations for being a TV presenter and basically having a career just like hers, because she is so inspiring. And when I told her about this, she was like, why don't you interview me? Ask me a few questions. It would be great for sort of your interviewing presenter experience. And also I get some advice and tips from her as well of how she got into the industry and how she has been in the industry for so long. So if you want to hear about all the amazing and inspirational stories that Gloria had to say, then please keep on watching. And also just a disclaimer, the quality of this video could be a little bit better, but we had literally just finished filming for TV. All of the actual professional cameras were taken down and we were just filming it on our phones. There's a bit of rain in the background. Despite all that, it's still an amazing interview and I'm so grateful and blessed that I was able to do it. I know I say it at the end of the video, but thank you, Gloria, for this opportunity. It was amazing to speak to you and work with you. And yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hi guys, so I'm here with the incredible Gloria Hunniford. I have to say that Gloria is honestly one of my inspirations because she's been a TV presenter, radio presenter for many years, and that is exactly what I aspire to be. So I just wanted to ask Gloria a few questions, and the first one is, how did you get into the industry and have you got any advice?
I know, Maisie's going to be horrified at this, by the way, but I have been in show business for 75 years. I mean, that's hideous, isn't it, when you think about it?
But you can't believe it.
But I was a singer originally, and at whatever level I was going to be, that's what I was going to be, a singer. And then I made a record in 1969, and that was the year that the Troubles broke out in Northern Ireland, where I was living and where I come from. And it was all bombs, bullets and barricades, but I recorded a single which was called Are You Ready for Love, still available, not to buy, but still available on audio technology. And it was a song that Lulu had recorded, and it was a great backing, and I was taken to London from Northern Ireland to put my voice to the backing that she had. So to cut a long story short, it went into the Ulster charts, and I was brought in to be interviewed in BBC Belfast on the equivalent of the Today programme. And of course the question was, how are you going to cope with all this fame as a singer? Because I was a mother of 2 children at that point. And again, to cut the story, there were no women in broadcasting then in Northern Ireland, either in front of the microphone or behind.
Wow.
And so the producer was way ahead of the game. That's the rain, by the way, pounding in Cornwall. And the producer rang me up that night and he said, you don't seem to be short of a word or two. Have you ever thought about broadcasting? Which I never had. I was going to be a singer.
And how old were you at this point?
I would have been, at that particular time, I would have been in my 20s.
Okay.
And late 20s. I had children very early. And I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I've always been one to say, I'll have a go at it. And so, to cut the story again, I started the next day.
Wow.
But the great thing that he did for me, on my first day in BBC Belfast, he took me to the newsroom and I said, what do you see? And I said, I see a lot of men pounding away on typewriters. So he said to me, remember, as a woman, you're not coming in here to do the knitting and sewing and recipes. Remember, you're as good as any bloke in this newsroom. And without me ever having to think of sexism, he said, you'll be out in the streets of Northern Ireland doing bombs, bullets and barricades, just like them. So remember, you're as good as any bloke. So
that's very true.
It gave me, so I've never ever been perturbed by sexism or even thought.
So would you say it was then hard for you to then get work after that, or did it kind of lead on from that job?
Well, I was lucky to be given the job of broadcasting.
Yeah.
I carried on singing as well. But then luck hit me again, because in Northern Ireland I was doing, by this stage, a nightly television programme between 6 and 7. It was called Good Evening Ulster, and what we did, we gave the bad news what it was worth of the day. If it was 10 minutes, it got 10 minutes. But 1 hour of local news doesn't even exist today. It only existed there because it's hard to gather 1 hour of everything every day on a local station. An executive from BBC in London was watching in his hotel room at tea time when he was getting ready to go to dinner or whatever it was. And he came looking for me 3 years later and gave me a job on Radio 2 in London.
So it's
So
just,
luck hit a number of times. The only thing I would say is that when you get your luck, you have to work hard to keep it. So it's wonderful to get the opportunity, but then I've worked hard. But in Northern Ireland, you're taught to work, and so I've worked since I was 7 when I was singing, and so therefore I still want to do it.
yeah, and I've seen, having worked with you, like how great you are with the crew as well, and would you agree that that's really important to sort of build relationships with the crew, because then that sort of leads on to your jobs?
Well, that's all about life, really, isn't it? And coming from Northern Ireland, we talk to everybody anyway. And we have a joke. People say to me, "Do you mind people talking to you?" And I say, "Listen, if they don't talk to me, I run after them until they do." And it's a little bit of that, because when you grow up in a semi-rural area like Northern Ireland, you know everybody anyway. And but my children tell good stories about when we went shopping when they were smaller, maybe in their early teens or even younger. And they would be behind me, so they would say, you should hear all the shoppers saying, "Oh, she's not as big as she looks like on TV, she's a lot thinner, isn't she?" And they would hear all the comments,
And what would you say is the final question, because you've done so many amazing things in your career, what would you say is a career highlight for you?
Well, on a singing level, but I did The Masked Singer, which went out at the beginning of this year. I was Snow Leopard, and as far as I know, I'm the oldest person to have done that. And I hadn't sung on a big stage, because it's a big production. And I hadn't sung on a big stage for 24 years. But they're fantastic. They are a great production company. They give you lessons to sharpen you up. They give you any help that you need with choreography. But my Snow Leopard outfit was so beautiful that they came to my house in Sevenoaks one Saturday morning, and they took the mask out of the big box, and I have to tell you, I welled up. It was so beautiful. And I'd love to have kept it, on a table or in the sitting room.
Did they not let you keep it?
No, because they're so expensive to make. And probably the outfits go on to America and places like that where they do the program.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. But the one question people say, were you really nervous? If you hadn't sung on a big stage for 25 or 4 or 5 years, we're not nervous. But the reality was that I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, you were hidden.
Because it's all fur.
Yeah.
And the mask is on like a bicycle helmet, so you can tighten it at the back so that it doesn't wobble.
Yeah.
I knew there were dancers behind me, but I never saw what they were doing until the transmission. I couldn't see the audience.
So you could have just been in your own room.
Well, exactly. So the 4 judges were over there somewhere in shadow. I could sort of see them. So you're right. The question was, were you nervous? Well, I might as well have been singing in the bath, because I couldn't see anybody anyway. But I loved it. And also, it was very nice for me to go to a different age group, because it's a very, very much a family program, and the children love all the masks and everything. But in terms of longevity, because that's another thing people ask, they said, how have you stayed in the business so long?
Yeah.
It is a matter of luck. It is very much hard work. But you look at Rip Off Britain that you're working on at the moment, and you're brilliant. This girl is brilliant at her job. So, Maisie, the thing is that you have to be prepared to go different ways.
Yeah.
And you can't expect to be number 1 on a Saturday night until this age. So I've always been one for a challenge, hence The Masked Singer. I'm up for a challenge anytime, whether it works or not, I want to do it. But Rip Off Britain started 14 years ago at one financial crisis. Now, 14 years later, and we are 3 women of a certain age, we've never been more relevant, because the cost of living, energy prices, everything that we do in Rip Off Britain. So you never know what's around the corner, and I still want to work, and that's it, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Gloria. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and
Thank you
to actually hear about your career. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.